This is John May, General Manager of Petrale Roofing, up on another customer's roof doing a free 21-point inspection. If you'd like us to take a look at your roof, give us a call today, 719-375-8773. We'd be happy to take a look and see the condition of your roof. Petrale Roofing, we're a Diamond certified TAMCO installer, which means we can offer a industry-leading 25-year workmanship warranty to give you peace of mind in the storm. Call Petrale Roofing, 719-375-8773. Schedule your free inspection today.
I am Peaks to Plains meteorologist Rachael Plath, and while it has been very quiet for the majority of the state, we do have some action picking up in southern Colorado. So I want to take a little bit of time to update you on a couple of storms that we are keeping an eye on. Now, this is in southern Colorado in Los Animas and Baca County, and you can see those storms kind of on the bottom of your screen that have popped up over the past hour or so, and they are producing some pretty decent winds, some bursts of rain, and the potential for some hail. So I wanted to track them for you right now. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Los Animas County, and this is just to the west of the interstate, southwest of Trinidad. It's moving just to the south of West, and you'll notice with this radar loop, there was that area of bright pink within the center of the cell that was suggesting that there could be some quarter-size hail associated with this storm. It does look like, as it's moving across the Colorado-New Mexico state line, that it is losing a little bit of its steam, but it could pulse back up again as it moves into an area where we do have the ingredients in place for storm intensification. So again, that yellow box that is right around Weston, this is in southwestern Los Animas County, west of the I-25 corridor, southwest of Trinidad. Trinidad not included in that warning. This warning is going to remain in effect, though, for Los Animas County until 8 o'clock. So for about the next 36 minutes or so. And there is the potential for 60-mile-per-hour gusts. So that is going to be the primary concern, along with the potential for nickel-size hail as the storm again slides off to the southeast. It's moving at about 15 miles per hour. So very quickly it is going to be out of the state. But it is a warning that we are keeping an eye on. So again, you can zoom in on that. See, it's the worst of it is passing just at the south of Weston, though likely getting in on some of that rain. And Cokedale, you could get clipped with this more northerly cell as this continues again, traveling southeast at about 15 miles per hour. This is going to impact Highway 12, so that is going to be an area where we could have some ponding on the roads if the rain is heavy enough. But the good news is these storms are moving. Now, another cluster of storms that we are keeping a very close eye on is right around Baca County. No severe thunderstorm warnings associated with this cluster of storms, but this area is included in a larger region that extends off toward the east and southeast of Colorado, where we do have all of the ingredients in place for storm intensification and the lingering of storms here as we take you through the evening. So no, there's no severe thunderstorm warning as of yet, but if these storms continue to show signs of intensifying, we will let you know. The areas of red suggest that there is some heavy rain and even some small hail, but I think with the storms that develop around Springfield and Walsh and Campo, winds are the primary concern. We had a pretty strong cell. This one right here was a little bit stronger when it was just north of Highway 160. And during that time, it was producing anywhere from 50 to 55 mile per hour gusts, which is just below severe limit. So there was no severe thunderstorm warning issued, but these storms still packing a bit of a punch. But if we zoom out, you'll notice that that's really the extent of the activity here in southern Colorado, south of Highway 50. So again, going back to our warning, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Los Animas County. That storm is very quickly pushing into New Mexico, but we still have another area of some heavy rain just to the north of Weston. So that is going to be something that we'll keep an eye on. The reason for this is we do have enough moisture to work with and a little bit of lift, especially for the areas in southeastern Colorado. You'll notice that Springfield is in that area of orange, which does suggest that we have some pretty decent thunderstorm strength available for these storms as we take you into the evening. Now, typically what we see happening is after the sun sets, we lose a lot of the energy that these storms can sort of feed off of. So we should start to see a decrease in intensity, at least here in Colorado, as these storms continue traveling off toward the south and east. But we do, again, have a very slight risk of these storms becoming severe here as we head through about the next hour or two. You'll notice that the southeastern corner of the state is included in that area where it's possible to likely for strong storms to develop, and that is exactly why we are keeping a close eye on those storms as they move off toward the south and east, quickly pushing into the Oklahoma and Texas panhandles. Now, by about 11 o'clock, that's when we expect things to really kind of wind down. The storms will move off toward our south and east, and then they will be out of Colorado. So we are really only dealing with this threat here through the remainder of the evening and into the very first part of the night tonight. Something we will need to watch out for, though, and something that has been showing up on previous runs of the models, is if we were to get an outflow boundary from some of those stronger storms in Baca County, those could help to fuel a bit of weaker storm activity later tonight and into early tomorrow morning, primarily for portions of Los Animas County. But that's going to be the exception rather than the rule. I think for the most part, we're going to see everything really wind down as we take you into the rest of the night tonight. So just wanted to pop on quickly. I'm going to reset my radar. I'll give you one last look at where we have that storm that has prompted the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. And we will take another quick look at those, and then I will let you carry on with your evening. But I felt like this is good information to know. I know everybody wishes that they were getting in on some of this rain at least, but the severe weather is not necessarily something that we like to see come along with the rain. We need the rain, not so much the hail and the winds. Those aren't elements that are helpful by any means. Again, you can see that all of the activity is really focused for areas south of Highway 50. This is right along the Colorado state line, the southern Colorado state line, and it's only been really over the past couple of hours that these storms have kind of blossomed and shown the potential of bringing that hail. So the only severe thunderstorm warning that I have to tell you about as of right now is for Los Animas County, and it's for this cell that is very quickly moving into New Mexico. And you will notice that if we zoom in on it and run this radar loop, that it did weaken somewhat as it was passing over the state line, but you can see that area of white and bright pink popping back up. The storm is kind of pulsing back to life, and it is once again showing signs of producing some decent size hail, and I think nickel size hail is what is being estimated by radar right now as the size of hail that could be associated with this storm. So the severe thunderstorm warning will likely be extended into New Mexico as this cell is pushing out of Colorado and into New Mexico. The severe thunderstorm warning included Weston, but the storm is passing to the south of Weston and the south of Highway 12. So Trinidad not included in that warning. You'll see that there is that other yellow box that is in New Mexico southwest of Raton. So that is kind of a cluster of just really strong storms that we have out there for this Thursday evening. And then we are continuing to keep an eye really on Baca County, where just to the south of Springfield, it looks like this storm is starting to pick up a little bit of speed as well. That area of pink is what we like to refer to as the hail core, and that is something that we see a lot of on radar. And this is going to be an area where we have quite a bit of heat to help fuel these storms and enough moisture where these storms popped up. These storms will be capable of producing some pretty decent wind gusts. I think that'll be the primary concern with the storms in the southeastern corner of the state. There is the potential for upwards of 60-mile-per-hour gusts with some of the stronger storms that do pop up. So that is why we are watching this cell. It is, again, very quickly moving off toward the south and east, so it is going to be out of Colorado here in not too long. But until then, it is possible that as it kind of slips right between Walsh and Campo, it could put down some pretty decent hail as well as some gusty conditions. No severe thunderstorm warning there just yet, but if that changes, I will let you know. We'll zip right back through. We have all the moisture again in the southeastern corner of the state. That's where we have dew points, which is kind of a measure of the amount of moisture that we have in the atmosphere. We're right near that 60-degree mark, which is kind of this magic number here in Colorado for storm development. When we see those 60s, we know that we have the ingredients, or at least one of the ingredients in place, which is the moisture, to help for these storms to develop. And it is in the southeastern corner, and especially the eastern plains as well, where we have a decent amount of thunderstorm strength. The reason we're not seeing a lot of thunderstorm activity across the northern and central eastern plains is simply because we have sort of a cap or a lid on the atmosphere that is kind of preventing these storms from bubbling up, but less of that down in Springfield. And so that is why Springfield is kind of the winner out there tonight, or the Springfield, Campo, Walsh, Two Buttes areas getting the best chance for these stronger storms. We do have that severe thunderstorm potential for the southeastern portion of Baca County and southeastern Los Animas County as well. Here's a look at your skycast over the next couple of hours, and you'll see that we've got those storms kind of bubbling up in Baca County, but they quickly move off toward the east. So we're really only dealing with them here in Colorado for a relatively short period of time this evening. And once we start to see the sun set, generally in Colorado, we start to see the storm intensity decrease just a little bit. So we can expect that here over the next couple of hours. As I was mentioning earlier, there is the potential that we could get an outflow boundary that could spark a few more showers, light, nothing severe, in Los Animas County as we take you into the early morning hours of your Friday, but you'll see that really everywhere is going to quiet down with skies clearing as we take you into your Friday morning. So again, we do have that severe thunderstorm warning that is for Los Animas County. That storm, though, is really quickly moving its way out of the state as we speak. I will give you one last look at that, and then we will check in on that Baca County. I'm kind of waiting for that one to see if he intensifies a little bit more, because if he does, we could have a second severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about. And it looks like we just got it. I had a feeling that was going to happen. So here, let's pop you back in. I now have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings to tell you about. Here is what we have been seeing as far as the trends over the last couple of hours, and the storms have really been focused over the southern Sangre de Cristo Mountains and then kind of sliding off the hills, likely impacting areas along the Raton Mesa and around Springfield. And here we have the newest severe thunderstorm warning. So let's zoom in on that. Is the cell that was pushing through Springfield. So if you are watching from Springfield, you're getting some rain now, but not too long ago, the rain was probably a little bit more intense as this cell moved overhead. It weakened as it passed over Highway 160, and as it's moving off to the south and east now, it is intensifying a little bit more. So moving into an environment where we have all of the ingredients in place for that intensification. So as I mentioned earlier, 60-mile-per-hour gusts are going to be the primary concern with these storms, along with bursts of heavy rain. We'll have to really closely watch some of the lightning that gets produced by some of these storms, as well as we have seen during the past several thunderstorms that we have been monitoring here in Colorado. We have had some fires as a result of cloud to ground lightning. So that is going to be something that will need to be monitored. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail for this severe thunderstorm warning that has now been issued for southeastern Baca County. This is in southeastern Colorado. Campo and Walsh not included in this warning. In fact, this storm is situated just about 13 miles southeast of Springfield, and it's moving to the south and east at about 10 miles per hour. So not overly quickly, but this is going to be the general direction that that storm is moving to. So it is going to very quickly move out of Colorado, but until then, it is kind of looking like it's going to intensify here just a little bit. So here we can zoom in a little bit more on that hail core, which again is just the east of Highway 287. So not impacting the road other than some heavy rain that is likely falling just to the north of Campo. And I'll pause this. That area of pink is probably going to be where we'll see the best chance of getting some of that larger hail with the severe thunderstorm warning that has just been issued. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 8:15 this evening. So for about another 45 minutes or so. The storm back behind this cell, not as strong. The storm that is just to the north of Springfield and southwest of Two Buttes, again, not as strong, but you can see as we play this loop forward, slow it down a little bit, that area of red, which suggests that the storm is intensifying a little bit behind that cell that is currently warned as severe. So we'll have to keep an eye on this storm too as it moves off toward the south and east, again, moving at about 15, 20 miles per hour. So not terribly quick. So we are going to see that rain sort of lingering in that area for a little bit here as we take you through your Thursday evening. The storm that had prompted the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning in Los Animas County. The severe thunderstorm warning has been allowed to expire as, again, the storm has passed off into New Mexico. Still looks like it is bringing the potential for some decent sized hail, that area of pink just to the south. Here's the Colorado state line here. So as it moves off toward the south, that may require another warning to be issued for New Mexico. But as far as Los Animas County is concerned, the threat related to that storm anyway is over. So now it is just this cluster of storms that is in Baca County that we will keep an eye on. We have that severe thunderstorm warning, as I mentioned, until 8:15. We can take a look at, again, the moisture that we have across the area right near that 60-degree mark. So we do have plenty of ingredients in place for this to play out. The models all day today were kind of suggesting that we were going to get this cluster of storms during the late evening in the Springfield area, and that's exactly what has played out. So it's not too surprising to see that has developed, and the Storm Prediction Center puts out these areas where it's probable or likely that we'll see storms, and they really nailed it. They highlighted the southeastern corner of the state, and that's exactly where we have those stronger storms. Now notice, if we zoom out a little bit, that area of red, which is over the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles, that's going to be an area where we have the potential to see even further intensification. So once these storms move out of Colorado, they are not necessarily going to be dying out by any means. Instead, it is possible that they could increase in intensity as they move into Oklahoma. So that'll be something that will need to be monitored closely. But as far as we're concerned here in Colorado, it's just the southeastern corner of the state. Nothing else to report in the state, and there's that cluster of storms on models continuing to push to the south and east. We'll likely be continuing to monitor them here for the next couple of hours. So through about 9, 10 o'clock, they'll start to push out of here, and we will be able to watch those skies clearing. Now, something else that we will be monitoring for the rest of the state, if you're not interested in the storms that we have going on, if they're not impacting your area, something that will be impacting the bulk of the state here as we take you through tonight and into tomorrow is going to be the smoke that is going to be moving into the state from the fires not only in Utah and Nevada, but also the abundant fires that we have in the Pacific Northwest. So tonight might not be the best night to sleep with your windows open. You might want to skip your walk in the morning because smoke is expected to increase across the area. So sure, Skycast is showing that we have plenty of blue skies expected in the morning as far as the clouds are concerned. However, with the haze and the smoke, it may not look as clear as perhaps that skycast is suggesting. So let's go back to radar. We'll look at that severe thunderstorm warning that we do have now until 8:15 for Baca County. And that is because we have that cluster of storms that has really just blown up and has become quite impressive here over the last really 45 minutes or so. We were watching this storm kind of pulse. It was increasing in intensity and then kind of weakening and increasing in intensity and then weakening. And we are seeing it pulse right back up. So that is why we have that severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued by the National Weather Service. That is for that yellow box on your screen. We do have a little bit of light rain that is moving across southern Teller County. So Cripple Creek getting a little bit of light rain. Pikes Peak likely getting a little bit of that rain as well. But that storm is not in an area where we anticipate to see intensification. So great to see the rain. I hope some of it's actually making it to the ground because goodness knows we need the moisture. But as far as the severe potential, it's really just right down here in the southeastern corner of the state. So this is Baca County. I'll zoom out so you can kind of get your bearings and see where we are looking. So south of Highway 50, right along Highway 287, that runs right down the center of the county, and it is just to the south of 160, to the east of 287, and that storm is really picking up in potential. It is growing in size, it is growing in intensity. That area of pink and white is showing where we have the best potential of getting some of that large hail. So the hail, the gusty winds, those are going to be the two primary threats. Quarter-size hail, now as this storm is starting to intensify. So when it first popped in, it was quarter size. We had the potential for nickel size, we had the potential for nickel size hail, and now we are tracking the potential for quarter size hail as this storm moves southeast. And it's only moving at about 10 miles per hour, so it's not overly quick. It's kind of spinning right in that same area. So I would imagine that right underneath that cell, we're getting some decent rain, could see some ponding. And also the hail is going to be the big threat. And along with the hail threat, we also have the potential for some very gusty winds. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are going to be possible with this storm. It is located just about 13 miles southeast of Springfield. So here we can pause this. We will get our map out, or our ruler out. And yep, about 13 miles just off toward the southeast of Springfield. It is situated about 10 miles southwest of Walsh, and it is just to the north and east by about 10 miles to Campo. So this storm is going to continue shifting toward the southeastern corner of the county. You will notice, though, that something that we pointed out earlier, just to the north of Highway 160, we have this other cell that we have been keeping an eye on that's kind of following on the coattails of the severe warned cell. This storm does look like it is starting to gain a little bit of strength. Those areas of red just indicating that some heavier rain is falling just to the north of 160. So Springfield, the rain is really going to increase here, likely in about the next 10 or 15 minutes. And as this storm pushes off toward the south and east, it's also going to impact Walsh. So this storm also moving at about 10 miles per hour. So likely moving into Walsh here by about 8:10 or so. So maybe in the next 20, 30 minutes. So Walsh, you can expect that heavy rain to begin to move in along 160. Travel will be impacted as that heavy rain pushes overhead. And again, we have that stronger cell just to the south, but this one we'll have to watch too, as all of this cluster of storms is really in an area that is favorable for further intensification on this Thursday evening. So just to once again check in, if you are just tuning in with us here on Peaks to Plains, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued. This is in southeastern Baca County. This storm is going to move into the Texas and Oklahoma panhandles, and as it does so, it is going to be moving into an area where there is favorable ingredients for further intensification. So I suspect that even the southwestern corner of Kansas is going to want to keep a close eye on these two. Models have been suggesting that as these storms move to the south, they are going to stick around for several hours tonight. They won't be in Colorado necessarily, but as they continue pushing into Texas, it is possible that they will tap into an area where we have a little bit more moisture, a little bit more lift. That heat is going to be one of the factors that's going to help these storms sort of bubble up, sort of be the fuel for their further intensification and also their longevity as they move into that part of the region. So severe thunderstorm warning for this yellow box that you see on your screen. This is in Baca County. This is just to the south and east of Springfield, just to the south of Walsh, to the east of Campo, and it's that area of pink where we are most concerned about the potential for some decent sized hail. In fact, about quarter size hail is going to be possible with this storm now as it's kind of intensified right in front of us. So we popped on beginning to talk about the storms in Los Animas County. Those have now moved into New Mexico. This was the cell originally warned as severe that pushed near Weston. It's now in New Mexico. A warning was just allowed to expire in New Mexico. So good news there for that storm. Still bringing quite a bit of rain. I will put this into motion now for you. That is going to impact areas along I-25 between Raton and Maxwell. This is again in New Mexico. But here in Colorado, things really quieting down for the Sangre de Cristo Mountains, the southern I-25 corridor, nothing there. We're still keeping an eye on those areas of showers in Teller County, but really the bulk of the activity is now focused around Baca County. So a severe thunderstorm warning that remains in effect. I'm not overly concerned about the tornado threat with the storms that develop in the southeastern corner of the state this evening. Instead, it is going to be gusty winds, 60-mile-per-hour gusts, which is the threshold there for severe storms to be, or severe warnings to be issued. So 60-mile-per-hour gusts along with 1 inch in diameter hail. And something else that we are keeping an eye on is this other little area of storms that is going to move right through northern and eastern portions of Springfield and Walsh. As we tracked earlier, that is going to be heading your way, and that storm is capable of, it's not quite as intense as the severe warned storm as of right now, but it is going to be capable of 55-mile-per-hour gusts and hail that could be up to about 3/4 of an inch. And you'll notice that the most likely area for getting that larger hail is going to be in this little hail core right here that is now pushing through Springfield. So it's just to the east of Highway 287, north of 160. That will move over 160, though, as these storms are traveling to the southeast, picking up a little bit of speed. Radar is suggesting that this storm now is traveling at about 15 miles per hour. No severe thunderstorm warning associated with it yet, but if that changes, of course, we'll let you know right here on Peaks to Plains. Looks like it kind of has 2 main areas of heavy rain, one to the east that doesn't look as capable of producing hail right now as the cell that's a little bit more westward, closer to Springfield and closer to Highway 287. So it is going to be that bright white that we see on the screen, where that is where we would most likely see some of that hail. Farther toward the south, this storm started to expand a little bit in coverage too. You'll notice that it was pretty compact not too long ago, and now it's kind of developed 2 little side cells, one that is just off toward its east and another one that is bringing some decent rain to Campo. So again, we love to see the rain, don't necessarily love to see the hail threat. This storm is warned as severe. That severe thunderstorm warning still in effect until about 8:15 this evening. As it moves out of Colorado, I suspect that it is going to kind of maintain its composure a little bit here for the next several hours. It won't necessarily be an issue for Colorado any longer, but as it pushes into Oklahoma and then eventually Texas, models are suggesting that it is going to maintain its strength, because that is going to be an area where, again, we have that heating, which is one of the fuel sources for storms. And if we zoom out and take a look at the thunderstorm strength, you'll see that we have this thunderstorm strength, the ingredients in place, or at least some of the ingredients, as the storms move off to the south and east to maintain the storm's potential for producing gusty winds as well as hail. Gusty winds and hail will be the primary threats, as I mentioned, not overly concerned about the tornado threat. So gusty winds really going to be one of the biggest concerns, and the severe storm signals show that it is in the southeastern corner where we have the best chance in Colorado of getting these stronger storms. That area of red is where it is even more likely to see some of these stronger storms. So that is where the environment is most favorable for that intensification. And you can see as these storms push off toward the south and east into Oklahoma and Texas. Again, this is a look at about midnight tonight. And those storms are still really maintaining their strength, likely still producing some decent rain, maybe some small hail. And as we take you through the night and into early tomorrow morning, as these storms continue pushing off toward the south, they will begin to dissipate. It does look like Kansas is going to keep in on some of that activity as we take you through the night tonight. So the same storms that we're watching out there right now are going to be bringing some decent rain, some gusty winds to Wichita, headed toward Kansas City later on in the morning. But as far as we're concerned here in Colorado, these storms are going to move out of here by early tomorrow morning. But again, it's kind of impressive to see these storms lasting for that long of a period of time, especially after they lose that daytime heating. But it just shows that they are moving into an area where we have a little bit more moisture to work with, and the daytime heating that they experienced over Texas is something else that is going to continue to fuel these storms. So it looks like we just got an update for our severe thunderstorm warning. So I'll take you back to radar. We'll check in on that and update you on exactly what we have going on. Whoops, let me put this into motion for you. And here's Skyscan over the last couple of hours. These storms really blossomed. We had one little cell trying to develop over Teller County, not in an area favorable for intensification, not like what we have for southern I-25 and the southeastern corner of the state. And you can really see as these storms popped up, kind of how they progressed over Baca County. They started off pretty weak. The cell that is currently warned as severe sort of weakened, strengthened, and now obviously it's pretty impressive little cell there with a severe thunderstorm warning that stays in effect for about the next 25 minutes. 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts are associated with this storm, and now there's the potential, as this storm looks like, see that area of pink, how it's gotten quite a bit bigger and is even like developing a little notch in it, which suggests that the storm is really sucking up some moisture. So some additional fuel. What that is going to indicate is that we do have the potential for even larger hail, $half size hail now. Radar indicated potential for $half size hail, 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts. As this storm continues shifting off toward the south and east, it is traveling between Walsh and Campo, but you'll notice that other side cell that is kind of accompanying the stronger storm is now moving through Campo. So if you are watching for that area, that is why you are getting such heavy rain. That is not the severe cell that is moving over you, and instead it is just kind of on the outskirts of that stronger cell. So in that yellow box, that is where we have the severe thunderstorm warning as of right now. Again, this does include southeastern Baca County. It does not include Campo, nor does it include Walsh. And something else that we are keeping an eye on is the two cells that are kind of trailing that initial line of stronger storms off toward the north of the severe warned cell, impacting Springfield, heading toward Walsh. It's going to impact areas along Highway 160. That storm is capable of producing 55-mile-per-hour wind gusts along with 3/4-inch hail. That storm is moving southeast at about 15 miles per hour. So this storm is also of note. No severe thunderstorm warning associated with this cluster of storms as of yet. But of course, if that changes, we'll let you know right here on Peaks to Plains. I'm going to stop this really quick and show you just with the last radar loop. And this is what we've been watching the cell do, or what I've been watching the cell do a couple of times already. Is this was a look at the storm. You can back it up a little bit further. Not overly impressive. This is a look at 724. And then pretty rapidly, it developed that hail core. So by about 7:30, it's looking pretty impressive. If we fast forward even more so, you'll notice that over the last couple of radar loops, it looks like it's losing a little bit of its oomph, but I wouldn't be surprised if it pulses right back up again. That is going to be something that we'll watch out for. The two cells that are trailing it look like also they might be losing a little bit of their gusto as well, still producing some decent rain. Gusty winds are also going to continue to be a concern with these storms as they move off toward the south and east. So again, a severe thunderstorm warning still in effect, despite the fact that the last radar image showed a little bit of this hail core kind of collapsing somewhat. But again, these And it looks like that's continuing to die out just a little bit. So good news there. Great to get the rain. This is an area where we do have drought conditions still. And even though a storm of this magnitude isn't enough to put a dent in drought conditions, it certainly helps. We'll take all the rain that we can get here in southern Colorado. We'd just love to see it without the wind and the hail, of course. So just that storm, we'll give it a couple more radar loops. And then if I can let myself be convinced that this storm isn't going to pulse back up and cause more issues here for Baca County and these storms, I will let you go. But until then, we'll kind of keep an eye on these cells as they are pushing through southeastern Colorado. So I'll zoom out if you're just joining us here on Peaks to Plains. Welcome. We are continuing to keep an eye on a little cluster of storms that models were projecting would develop. It's actually right on schedule, which is really fun to see the forecast working out so perfectly. They're kind of right on time. So they will impact Baca County. So this is in southeastern Colorado. We had some strong storms moving through areas near Trinidad and Weston. I'll rewind this a little bit. We had a severe thunderstorm warning not too long ago. That storm has now moved off into New Mexico and has weakened somewhat, but you'll notice that area of white and light pink suggesting that that storm's still capable of producing some decent size hail. We do have a little bit of rain trying its hardest to keep it together in southern Teller County right now. This is just the east of Cripple Creek. So if you look up at Pikes Peak, you may notice some clouds around the area. It looks like it wants to rain. This is an area though where it is pretty dry. So as far as any rain making it to the ground, it's going to be pretty limited. This is not an area where we anticipate thunderstorms tonight, nor do we have the ingredients for any storm intensification. Instead, really, it's just this southeastern corner that we have been monitoring. And it's these thunderstorms kind of keep bubbling up. And we have only that one severe thunderstorm warning as of right now. So again, we'll zoom back into that southeastern corner. These storms are very slowly making their way to the southeast. They are not impacting Campo. Campo, you did get a little bit of rain, but again, that was just kind of that side cell, which does look like it's kind of congealing a little bit more with the main cell. The main cell has a tendency to sort of absorb the energy from some of the weaker surrounding storms, using that to fuel itself, but then depleting those other cells' capacity to further intensify. So this storm, again, is kind of losing a little bit of its luster as it moves off toward the south and east, still capable of producing some decent hail, and along with some gusty winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds are something that these storms will be capable of, especially if they start to sort of die out and lose their intensity. As that happens, we tend to see these storms produce outflow winds that can sort of serve as a mini cold front. So hey, the good news about these storms rolling through is that they're likely cooling down the temperatures for Springfield, where it was pretty hot out there today, and we expect the heat to continue as we head through the weekend. So enjoy the rain, enjoy the slight cool down. I'm sorry about the hail and the wind, but it's kind of one of those things, they sort of have to go hand in hand every once in a while. So we'll put this back into motion, see what these storms are doing. And it looks like our southernmost storm is, it's losing a little bit of its tenacity. Meanwhile, the storms that are following it sort of are still keeping it together pretty well. So this cell is interesting right here as it's passing over Highway 287. As it does so, it's likely going to produce a burst of heavy rain, could cause some ponding on the roads, a little bit of small hail associated with those storms. No severe thunderstorm warning associated with any cell in Baca County as of right now, with the exception of our original storm that you could clearly see why if we take radar back just a little bit. Look how big that hail core was. Right around 7:37, it's now 7:58. So about 20 minutes ago, this storm was really impressive. It was looking really, really nice, but now it is starting to lose a little bit of its strength as it moves off toward the southeast. So we still have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect until 8:15. This storm is in Baca County in southeastern Colorado. This storm is going to continue pushing off toward the south and east. It's only moving at about 10 miles per hour, so it's kind of slow to get out of here. The cell that we were watching, I have mentioned he kind of had two of these little side cells that popped up along with him. The western cell, this one right here, kind of died out and got absorbed into that larger cell. But watch this one that's heading right toward Westola in Kansas. And that storm is starting to pick up a little bit of strength as it moves over the Colorado-Kansas state line. We still have these two cells that are just along now and north of 160. These storms are capable of producing some small hail along with gusty winds, 60-mile-per-hour winds possible with the southern storm. These two cells that are kind of following it are more likely capable of producing about 50 to 55-mile-per-hour gusts, and the potential for penny-size hail is what we would expect to see with those storms. So let's put this back into motion. And just a nice little cluster of storms for this Thursday evening, pushing off toward the south and east. And I'll get SkyCast back up and we can track these as they move into Texas. So again, you can see that this is where we have the most moisture. So it's really no surprise that the storms that we are seeing are focused in this southeastern corner of the state. Take a look up at Denver, where dew points are only at about 20. So this is a measure of how much moisture is in the air. Obviously, the higher the number, the more moisture there is. If we don't have moisture, we don't have storms. So it's no surprise that it's out across the southeastern corner where Springfield, we've got a dew point near 60. And that's an area where we have the thunderstorm strength. So it's no surprise, too, that we are getting that intensification. So these storms had all the ingredients they needed to bubble up. And then, of course, they're in an environment that's favorable for the growth of the storm, the longevity of the storm. The storm's capability of producing hail as well as damaging winds look to be the primary threats. Tornado threats, not so much. But here's SkyCast, and you'll see that as we take you into the next couple of hours, the storms are going to decrease in intensity, at least somewhat. Still probably capable of producing some decent wind as they move across the Oklahoma Panhandle and into the Texas Panhandle. And this is a look at about 11:30 tonight. So no longer Colorado's storms. Instead, they will kind of maintain some of their strength as they move off toward the south and east. I would anticipate that as far as their severity, that will significantly decrease here as the sun goes down and we lose some of that daytime heating. But you'll notice kind of sliding along the Colorado-Oklahoma state line, there is that cell that could continue to produce a few problems. Take you into the later hours of the night into early tomorrow morning. Colorado is in the clear, with the exception of some smoke and haze that is going to continue streaming into the state. So when I say clear, I mean, we're not going to be monitoring any cloud cover tomorrow morning. It should actually be a pretty cloudless start to the day. The unfortunate part is the wind directions that we have over the state right now, where the high pressure is kind of over northern Arizona. That's in the perfect position to draw some of the smoke in from the fires that are burning up in the Pacific Northwest, as well as in Utah and Nevada. So we will need to keep an eye on smoke conditions. There are air quality alerts that remain in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. So probably not the best night to sleep with your windows open. I would suggest skipping your walk in the morning if you are sensitive to those particulates in the air. So the storms, they're still keeping it together as of right now, but I suspect that here over the next hour or so, we are not going to have much to talk about here in Colorado, which is the good news. One thing that models were picking up on earlier when I was looking at them is there is the potential that we could get an outflow boundary to come off of those storms that are in the southeastern corner of the state. And if that were to happen, we have a tendency to see weaker storms, but storms nevertheless kind of developing along that boundary. So that is something that we might need to watch out for later on tonight. But I would expect that more than anything, it would produce maybe a few raindrops, but certainly nothing anywhere near the intensity of the storms that we are seeing out there right now. The storms that we do have, again, they've popped up right around 5, 6 o'clock and weren't overly impressive to begin with, especially for southern I-25. We had those storms near Trinidad. It was only recently that we had this cell that you'll see pop up and move quickly into New Mexico. He was warned as severe. That severe thunderstorm warning obviously has been allowed to expire, seeing as how that storm has weakened and moved out of the state. And then here's kind of the progression of the cluster of storms that are moving through Baca County. And in Springfield, some decent rain. Probably looks really neat to look off to the east right now. That storm currently pushing over Highway 160. These storms moving into Kansas right now. So that sort of side storm that developed, that left mover kind of sliding off toward the east. And as it does so, that one is intensifying, and it's sort of maybe taking some of the energy from our initial storm that was warned as severe, which is we still have that severe thunderstorm warning for about the next 11 minutes. That storm's still capable of producing some decent winds, but it has significantly weakened. So we'll take you to radar now. We'll give you another look at that storm, and we'll check out the two storms that are trailing it, which again, it looks like the easternmost trailing storm that is passing just to the north of Walsh right now is just producing rain. The western cell that is just east now of Springfield, sliding over 160, that area of white and pink is where I would most likely see that penny-sized hail, 55-mile-per-hour gust. No severe thunderstorm warning with that cell. The only severe thunderstorm warning that we currently have, and it's doing it again, is for this cell that is continuing to slide off toward the south. I mentioned it's done this a couple of times now already, but it's weakened, and then it pulses right back up. And this is something that we have seen this storm do a couple of times. So the severe thunderstorm warning still going. That will probably continue until 8:15, and it may even be extended if this storm continues to maintain its strength. But I'll slow this down, and it's really cool to see this happening kind of in real time. So the storm, super strong. This is a look right around 7:40, producing a decent hail core there, potential for $half size hail there temporarily. And then as these storm approached the 8 o'clock hour, so at about 7:57, it lost a lot of its intensity. But then watch what happens just in this last radar loop. It's starting to kind of ramp back up again. So this storm's still capable of producing some decent size hail, 3/4 of an inch, 60-mile-per-hour winds again associated with this storm. It's picking up a little bit of speed, moving at 15 miles per hour now to the south and east. But all in all, not a very quick moving storm, which is why we've just been kind of watching it just kind of pulse here over the last little bit. Now we do have this National Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm watch. I will use one of my other tools here and show that to you. Severe thunderstorm, watch has now been issued for the southeastern corner of the state. If I can get that to work. And that will continue. The severe thunderstorm watch will continue until about 3 a.m. actually. So a decent amount of time as storms are expected to continue to impact the region. So let's put this into motion. And there we have that storm again, continuing to pick up a little bit of strength as it moves off toward the south and east, not moving overly quickly, but definitely producing quite a bit of rain. So here is the other view that I wanted to show you. Let's see if we got that. Perfect. So that's the cool thing about Peaks to Plains is we have multiple different views and tools that we can really track these storms for you. This is another radar view. Let me get that centered. Here's the cluster of storms in southeastern Colorado. Again, we have that severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued, staying in effect for the next 7 minutes. And with this storm continuing to sort of pulse and still showing signs of producing some decent sized hail, I would anticipate that that warning is going to continue, if not be renewed. Now, there's a lot of lines on here. Let me take some of these. We'll leave them. So the yellow box that you see on your screen, that is for the severe thunderstorm warning. Again, that is until 8:15. This tan box is a severe weather statement, which is kind of the precursor to a warning. So that severe weather statement will continue until 8:15 as well. This storm is capable of 55-mile-per-hour gusts and 3/4 inch hail. That storm continuing to slide off toward the south and east, but it is this yellow box, this yellow shaded area that encompasses portions of the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle, the southeastern corner of the state, a little bit of Kansas, and that is the severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued. Then that will stay in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning, because like we were talking about, this system kind of has the ability to help these storms, or where the storms are moving into, is an area where we have all of the ingredients in place where we could likely see the continuation of these strong storms well into the night tonight. If you look at sort of the thunderstorm watch and the threats that are associated with this thunderstorm watch and kind of where the biggest concerns are with these storms in this area, you'll notice that we talked about it. The threat for tornadoes is pretty low. It's going to be the threat for winds. In fact, some of the stronger cells will be capable of producing anywhere from 60 to 75 plus mile per hour winds. There is that chance. And of course, hail in excess of 1 inch. There's a moderate threat for that. But as far as thunderstorms that will be capable of 2-inch in diameter hail, there's a low threat for that. So certainly still a threat, but not quite as concerning as the potential for that 1-inch in diameter hail. So we do have another severe thunderstorm warning that was just issued. So for this secondary box that's blinking on your screen, that severe thunderstorm warning is going to go until 9 o'clock tonight. 1-inch in diameter hail associated with that storm. That storm is moving, or is producing, or capable of producing, 60 mile per hour gusts. So that is going to include the city of Walsh as well as Springfield. That storm will put this into motion for you so you can see the progression. Again, that was kind of that trailing storm that we've been watching and monitoring, and it popped up, it moved over Springfield. That was the first severe storm, and then we had those 2 trailing storms that popped up shortly thereafter, and now one of those has prompted yet another severe thunderstorm warning for this Thursday evening. We will go back to our other reflectivity. I just wanted to show you that severe thunderstorm watch that we now just have issued that will stay in effect, and it does include Baca County. Baca County is the only county that is currently included in that watch area. That's for the yellow box, the yellow shaded area, and that again is until 3 o'clock in the morning. So as this cluster of storms travels off toward the south and east, it is likely going to not only maintain its intensity, at least somewhat, but then as we take you into the next couple of hours, it's very possible that we'll get a few more storms to bubble up in this same area. So for that reason, that watch was issued, and it does include southeastern Colorado. That is the only area that is included in Colorado in that severe thunderstorm watch. You will notice that there are a few other colors showing up. We'll talk about those really quickly just because it can be a little confusing. The pink for Pueblo and Fremont County, that is actually a red flag warning. That goes into effect tomorrow because it is going to be hot and dry for the remainder of the state. So that is going to prompt fire danger concerns. And around Denver, the Denver metro area, back up into Boulder, that's where we do have a heat advisory that is going to be in effect not for tomorrow, but for Saturday. Saturday looking to be a very, very, very hot day. But the good news is we do have a pattern switch that is going to be making headlines, I think, next week. The monsoon is expected to return to Colorado, so that is going to bring more widespread storms to the area, which is wonderful because, again, we are dealing with severe to exceptional drought for many areas in Colorado. Great to see the moisture, but similar to what we had a couple of weeks ago, if we do get heavy rain over area burn scars, flash flooding can be a big concern. So we love to get the rain, not so much the flooding, but I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand, especially when we have the amount of wildfires that we have had so far this year. So the only severe thunderstorm warnings that we have as of right now, we will give those a little bit longer. The storm that moved through Springfield and is continuing to slide off toward the south and east was showing signs of weakening, and then now it's pulsing right back up as it's heading to the southeast out of Baca County. And then the trailing storm is what we had out there that sort of popped up and intensified rather quickly as it moved just to the east of Springfield, bringing the best chance for hail just to the east of Springfield. So let's take you back over to your sky scan and your jet stream, and you can kind of see the progression of those storms as well. We'll zoom in and take a look around. Severe thunderstorm warnings. Again, the smaller box to the south, this one right here, that warning is set to expire in about 2 minutes, but you'll notice that this bigger warning kind of is just taking it over. This larger warned area does include both of those cells, and that will stay in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. These storms are in an area where there has now been issued a severe thunderstorm watch. The severe thunderstorm watch only includes Baca County right now, and again, this is an area where we have all of the ingredients in place to see these storms not only continue to develop, but also to intensify. So the warning actually extends further to the south and east because the storm development is happening in southeastern Colorado. But then these storms are going to keep it together as they continue moving out of Colorado, causing issues for Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, the Texas Panhandle. And the problem with these storms is not going to be the potential for tornadoes, but as we talked about, 1 inch in diameter hail will be pretty common with some of these stronger storms, especially in those areas when you see it light up on radar like that, those pinks and whites. That's pushing from Springfield over 160 right now. It's going to pass, probably going to clip western portions of Walsh. It's going to slide to the south of Highway 160, and as it does so, it does look like it's starting to grow a little bit in intensity. So that is something where one of the reasons why that warning was issued and now has been extended until 9 o'clock. Looks like our southern storm is getting a little messier. So see how it has that nice tight hail core right there. As we fast forward radar and bring it up to current time, it looks like that has sort of broken up just a little bit. So still seeing the potential for getting that decent size hail up to about 1 inch in diameter. Anything above an inch, especially as the sun goes down, is going to be a little bit harder to attain, at least here in Colorado. Gusty winds, some of these stronger storms as they push, especially southeast of our area, will be capable of producing upwards of 65-mile-per-hour gusts. So damaging wind will be one of the primary concerns with these storms through the evening, which is unfortunate timing, especially as these storms roll overhead. That can cause some issues for folks in this part of the state. So again, we do have just one severe thunderstorm warning as of right now in Baca County. It encompasses these 2 cells that we have been watching pretty closely, and it does look like these storms are expected to continue for a lengthy period of time this evening. I'll take you back over to our other tool, and I'm going to load up Skyscan so that we can track these storms into the night for you. So here's a look at that cell. Again, the 2 cells that are sliding across southeastern Colorado. If you are just tuning in with us, here is where we are looking. So here's Colorado Springs. This is the far southeastern corner of the state. And we do have a severe thunderstorm watch for the yellow shading. That will stay in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning. I do anticipate that the storms here in Colorado are going to come to an end here over the next couple of hours. And I'm going to show that to you with our Skycast really quick. So let me get that all loaded up and we will go through that, and I'll show you exactly what you can expect here as we head through the next couple of hours. These storms, again, usually, generally in Colorado, what we see are these storms decreasing in intensity as we take you into the first part of the night, and that's exactly what we expect to see as we take you through the next, really about the next hour, hour and a half. So thankfully, here in Colorado, we don't have to deal with these storms for terribly long. It will be the central part, the central plains, that will have to deal with these storms for quite a bit longer, and they are going to, again, maintain some of their intensity. So let's take you back over to your Skyscan and your clouds. We have some clouds that are rolling over Colorado Springs. Colorado Springs, we're not going to be so lucky as to get much in the way of rain. Here is your Skycast, and you can see those storms that models are projecting moving over the southeastern corner of the state. So the storms are expected to move off toward the south and east. And as they do so, you'll notice those areas of yellow and orange suggesting that there is still the potential to get some strength out of these storms, some decent sized hail, some gusty winds as these storms move into the Oklahoma, Texas panhandles. Guyman could potentially be dealing with some strong storms right around 10 o'clock. And then these storms are, for the most part, going to at least dissipate somewhat as they move off toward the south and east. So they will gradually lose some of their intensity. This is a look at 4 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. The bulk of the activity will be over eastern Kansas. So Wichita likely waking up to some stormy conditions. Kansas City can expect some of those stormy conditions. But here in Colorado, you'll notice that even as far as the cloud cover, is concerned. We're only going to be dealing with these storms. We kind of get lucky with this system right now because we're only going to be dealing with these storms for, I would say, maybe about the next 1.5 hours. So we do still have that severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued that will continue until 9 o'clock this evening. So for about the next 40 minutes or so, we'll go back to radar. I'll show you that severe thunderstorm warning. We'll look for any new information. And if not, we'll just kind of keep an eye on these storms. I will continue updating social media. So make sure that you are following your Peaks to Plains crew, Chief Meteorologist Matt Meister, Chief Meteorologist Mary Matthews, and of course myself. And you can follow the Peaks to Plains social media pages on both Instagram and Facebook. And you can also download the app and track these storms yourself using radar within the Peaks to Plains app, which is a really, really cool feature, super easy to use. These storms, again, continuing to move off toward the south and east, those bright yellows and pinks still suggesting that there is the capability that these storms could produce some decent sized hail. In fact, it looks like there may have been a weather spotter that has now reported that as of 8:12, so about 8 minutes ago, it reported a golf ball size hail just 4 miles southeast of Springfield. So as this storm, we can slow this down. That is a very large and damaging hailstone. So right about at 8:12 is what the train spotter said. So when the storm was looking about like this, and it was located just off to the south and east of Springfield, golf ball size hail was reported, and that obviously would cause pretty significant damage to not only roofs, but also windows, vehicles, siding, people, animals outside too. This is in Baca County, so there has been a report of golf ball size hail. So it does show that these storms are perhaps producing a little bit more so than radar even suggests. So they are stronger than how they look, which is, again, why we are continuing to monitor these storms. And there is that severe thunderstorm warning that has been issued for Baca County that will continue until 9 o'clock. So 60-mile-per-hour gusts. Now we have 1 3/4 inch hail possible with these storms. I will bring this up to the current time, and you'll notice that that storm the cell that is responsible for that golf ball size hail looks to be the strongest storm in the area right now. So that is going to shift off to the south and east. It is moving only at about 10 miles per hour. So it's a slow moving storm. So unfortunately for the folks that are stuck beneath that cell, this is not a fun storm to be experiencing as it moves through Baca County and southeastern corner of the state. You'll notice that that warning now has kind of that black outline around the severe thunderstorm warning itself, which suggests that there is considerable threat of damage as this storm, again, produced at 8:12 a hailstone that was about the size of a golf ball, which is very impressive. Another severe thunderstorm warning just popped up for areas to the east of the Colorado-Kansas state line. So that is another warning that we have for Richfield. That will continue also until 9 o'clock. 1.5 inch in diameter hail there and up to 50-mile-per-hour gusts. So hail is the primary threat with that storm. So you'll notice that our original severe thunderstorm warning or warned cell that we popped on talking about that storm has weakened, but we have seen this before. I would not honestly be surprised if we start to see that strengthen back up once again, because it has pulsed like this several times now tonight. And then now the storm that has our attention is this cell right here that is now pushed just to the south of Highway 160. A trained spotter reported a golf ball size hailstone falling with that storm right around 8:12. So we'll take radar back. And it was right about there at this point when that was possible, when that storm was producing those golf ball size hailstones. And now as it's moved off toward the south, it still has that hail core, which suggests that not only are we getting heavy rain, but also gusty winds and the potential for that large hail. 60-mile-per-hour gusts are obviously capable of producing quite a bit of damage. This is in an area where we do have a severe thunderstorm watch. that will remain in effect until 3 o'clock in the morning. It does appear like the bulk of the activity, at least as of right now, is concentrated in southeastern Baca County. It's possible we could see a few more storms bubbling up behind this initial cluster of storms, so we'll have to monitor that threat. Baca County is the only county that is included in that watch area. If we take you back over to the tool here, you can sort of see that yellow shading, and that is where we have that severe thunderstorm watch. So it includes only that southeastern tip of Colorado. Elsewhere, the warning, or the watch rather, includes parts of Kansas, the Oklahoma Panhandle, and parts of northern Texas as well. So quite a bit of action. It was such a quiet day for the most part. And then these storms right on schedule popped up. We tracked quite a few storms over the southern mountains near the Raton Mesa, near Trinidad. Trinidad kind of got a little bit of rain, but for the most part, the heaviest storms have moved off toward the south into New Mexico. We had a little cell that tried to develop around Colorado Springs in southern Teller County and over the Pikes Peak, but that really didn't amount to anything. Really, now the only action that we have is for that yellow box on your screen, the yellow shaded areas where we have a severe thunderstorm watch, and then a severe thunderstorm warning is for the yellow box, and that warning will continue for about the next 35 minutes. It is set to expire at 9 o'clock, and it is because those storms are still producing and likely a little bit stronger than even radar suggests. This is kind of a weird area for our Pueblo-based radar to pick up on. Sometimes things are a little stronger than they seem, which makes sense considering, again, we had that report of a golf ball size hail just to the east, southeast of Springfield as this storm is moving off toward Oklahoma. So it is moving at about 10 miles per hour off to the south and east. And it is going to be in that area where you see the pink. Let's stop this. Developing right between Springfield and Campo, just off to the east. So it is in this area, which that's right to the west of County Road 36, north of County Road T. If you are familiar with this area, hopefully that is helpful. Looks like another weaker area where we could be tracking some hail right near County Road 44 and County Road Y. So again, in that area of red and light pink. These storms were following our initial storm that we popped on with to tell you about, we popped on to tell you about the storm in Los Animas County. That's long gone now. And now these storms have kind of captured our attention. So there's the big hail core that we are continuing to keep an eye on. This is in Baca County, southeast of Springfield now. It is situated about, about 9 to 10 miles to the southeast of Springfield. So if you are in Springfield, there is nothing heading your way as of yet. Of course, if that changes, we will certainly let you know. We have kind of seen these storms bubbling up. It has been this main cluster, really, that we have been focusing on. We have this line, or this little pocket of thunderstorms. That was the first severe thunderstorm warning that was issued, was for those cells right there. And then this storm kind of popped up right behind it. We have another strong storm just to the east of the Colorado state line. Heavy rain falling with these storms, of course, along with the potential for that large hail. So we can use one of the other tools we have and sort of look at where hail is most likely, and that's going to be in those red areas. So hail within these storms is going to be probably the most damaging element with these storms. A severe thunderstorm warning has been issued until 9 o'clock. So we will need to continue to keep an eye on that as far as how much rain has fallen. Might be overdoing it just a bit, but it's saying that there could potentially be within these storms up to a ½ inch, possibly even 1 inch per hour rainfall rate. So these storms producing quite a bit of heavy rain as well. So that is another element that will create some issues with these storms as they travel overhead. I will put this into motion again for you so you can kind of see the progression of these storms. And severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 9 o'clock this evening. This is the only area of storms we have out there this evening. It's for Baca County. This is in the southeastern corner of the state. These storms are only going to be with us here over the next couple of hours. If we get an outflow boundary that propels itself out from beneath one of these storms and travels back into the state, that is something that we will need to monitor closely too for the redevelopment of any of these storms. And I think that storm report just popped up, that hail report of the golf ball size hail at about 8:12. So let me get this focused in on so that you can see. So right to the east of Springfield is where that report was. So right there. That happened at about 8:12. So a strong storm that moved through and is continuing to impact the southeastern corner of the state. So again, severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock. This is for Baca County. These severe thunderstorms are within an area where there is a severe thunderstorm watch that will stay in effect until 3 o'clock, suggesting that even as these initial strong storms move out of here, we could potentially see a few more strong storms following them. So we'll be watching out for that. So stick with Peaks to Plains. We will obviously keep you appraised of any storms that could continue to impact the area or storms that show potential for intensification that may impact these same areas. Obviously, when we get heavy rain producing storms that move over the same area, we've kind of had this cluster of storms impacting the corner of Baca County, sort of between the state lines and Highway 160 and 287 for about the last hour or so. And with that being said, we could have some areas of localized flooding with as heavy as the rain. Radar is estimating the rain to be. So we are going to need to keep an eye out for that. It looks like perhaps that hail core is still holding pretty strong. So again, severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock. We are going to keep an eye on those storms for you. You can track them along with us at the Peaks to Plains app. If you do not have that yet, I highly recommend downloading that on your phone. It's a really cool tool. And then if you are watching on social media, whenever we are getting ready to do live coverage, we will give you a little alert that will let you know where the storms are. And if you are interested in that coverage, you can always pop into the app. And if you are not interested in the coverage, you can just keep on scrolling. But it just kind of gives you a way where you don't have to wait for the news to pop on. You don't have to wait for commercial breaks or things like that. We just always have this streaming content, which is a really neat tool to have at your disposal. So here's where we are keeping an eye, southeastern corner of the state. Baca County included in that severe thunderstorm warning that will continue here for about the next 28 minutes. 9 o'clock is when that's set to expire. We had a report of golf ball size hail at about 8:12 as this storm pushed just to the east of Springfield. Obviously, golf ball size hail is pretty serious, so there's a considerable threat for damage as this storm now moving to the southeast at about 15 miles per hour. So we can put our little tracker cone on there, and this storm, as it moves off toward the south and east, really kind of over a rural area, but still capable of producing some significant damage as it moves through. This storm now was the trailing cell for the original severe thunderstorm warned cell that was issued earlier, and now it has captured our attention and is looking to be the current most predominant storm that we are keeping an eye on. So that storm's still producing the potential for some pretty large hail. 7:12 was when it was reported to have produced that golf ball size hail. My apologies. Have I been saying 8:12? I think I have. It was 7:12 when I guess that hailstone was reported. So a strong storm, large hail, gusty winds looking to be the primary threat as opposed to tornado threat. So I guess that's the good side. It looks like perhaps that hail core is starting to lose a little bit of its organization as we just got another radar loop in, a little bit more data to work with. But as we saw with this first storm that is now passing into Oklahoma, these storms have had a tendency to kind of lose a little bit of their intensity before they bubble back up and sort of regain that intensity. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see this storm kind of look like it's dying out a little bit and then have it intensify a little bit further. So again, severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock. We also have, just for Baca County, a severe thunderstorm watch that will stay in effect until 3 a.m. I believe that the threat for further severe thunderstorm development is going to really be off toward our south and east, more so than continuing to develop and redevelop into the Springfield and Walsh and Campo area. But nevertheless, we will keep an eye on it for you. So we have a severe thunderstorm warning until 9 o'clock, but then taking a look at the rest of the state with the exception of a little light rain in Teller County and perhaps just a few sprinkles residing across the Raton Mesa. Really pretty quiet. So that's the only area of activity that we have as of right now. These storms should continue moving off to the south and east at about 15 miles per hour, gradually making their way out of the state. But until then, hail and damaging winds will be the primary threats as these storms move through. These storms have a history of producing up to golf ball size hail. So that is pretty significant. But as of right now, I will continue monitoring storm reports. I will bring you any further information that I get as far as any new storms or new warnings as I receive them here on Peaks to Plains. Hopefully this coverage was helpful to you, and hopefully you are staying safe out there this evening. For the rest of the state, I know that this is only impacting a very small portion, but that is important to us. Everywhere in Colorado deserves the same amount of coverage. So Springfield, again, you're in the clear as of right now. The bulk of the activity has moved off to your south and east. Walsh, it looks like if we put this into motion, these storms are going to pass just to your south. So you are not going to bear the brunt of at least that current severe thunderstorm warned cell. That warning until 9 o'clock this evening. That is all we have in Colorado. The rest of the state is under an air quality alert. That will remain in effect until 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that is because we still have, due to the wind direction from our area of high pressure over Arizona, winds coming in from the north and northwest. That is bringing a lot of smoke in from the fires in the Pacific Northwest, along with the fires that we have in Utah and Nevada. That being said, if you're not getting the storms right now, you're likely dealing with some smoke and some haze. And that is something that we will continue to keep an eye on and will likely see increase slightly as we take you into the early morning hours of your Friday. With the smoke and haze, obviously you want to limit your exposure outside if you do have sensitivities to those particulates. The smoke and haze will likely continue to be problematic through the weekend, but then we do get a pattern shift. Our winds switch around. We get the return of the monsoon as we take you into next week, which is great news. You can find more on that with your Peaks to Plains extended forecast, and that can be found over on the Peaks to Plains app. Thank you for joining us for this coverage. Again, I will continue to keep an eye on those storms. The severe thunderstorm warning still in effect for about the next 25 minutes. That storm is showing signs of losing a little bit of its intensity. If it starts to ramp back up, we'll pop back on with more coverage. We'll send you an alert if we are about to do so. And we'll keep an eye on the storm potential heading into next week. If you are watching this and you're wishing for the rain in your area, it is in the forecast. You just have to wait a few more days. Again, you can find that forecast right here on Peaks to Plains, and it's our weather together.
I'm Catherine.
And I'm Dewey, here with another WaterWise tip.
During summer, do you know why we water up to 3 days a week?
To make the best use of me.
Exactly. It builds deeper, stronger roots and makes your lawn more resilient.
Also, use the cycle and soak method. Try shorter cycles with breaks in between to reduce runoff.
And in spring or fall, you can water 1 or 2 days per week. Be WaterWise and your lawn will thrive.
Now that's WaterWise. Learn more at csu.org/